Welcome to Redeemed for Jesus with Bill Seng, formerly the Bill Seng Podcast. I'd like to thank each one of you for joining us for this episode and would like to remind you to like, share, and subscribe. And please feel free to comment below to let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything you like about this program. Enjoy the show. And it's been a while since we have recorded a whole bunch as far as Redeemed for Jesus with Bill Seng. So I thought that we'd start off on a pretty important note. Melissa, if you can go to your text messages real fast. By the way, my wife Melissa is here with me. Melissa, you want to say hi real fast?
Hello.
My wife Melissa is here with me, and I sent her a series of text messages. I hope they made it through. Some pictures, actually. And one of those pictures is in relation to International Women's Day, probably one of the most important holidays that we could have in America at this time in history. So, Melissa, we find those pictures real fast? Because I think it's very important that we understand the most important symbol of International Women's Day, possibly an icon across America. Melissa, describe to me what you see in the text message that I sent you of International. It's a very, I mean, this was a very serious hallmark for international women. What do you see there, dear?
It's a Delta airplane that is in the snow, and it's upside down, and the picture says Happy International.
How does that have anything to do with International Women's Day?
Well, a lot of the airplane companies thought it was important to just love DEI, and so they just hired a bunch of women that probably...
The first all women's, this has been like at least a year now.
Well,
it's been a couple years now. The first, they celebrate the first all women's crew of an airplane. And Melissa, what happened to that?
Yeah, it crashed.
I hope nobody got hurt. I don't know what the results were of. I never heard, but that has kind of been, I think, not of women, but of DEI rather, is what that's all about. Because they were, instead of going for merit, they're like, well, not who wants to be a pilot, but we need more of this group as a pilot. And it's like, wait. What if that group's not interested in being a pilot? Well, then you're just looking for the first person that raises their hand, and they might not know anything about. By the way, welcome for Redeemed for Jesus with Bill Seng. That has nothing to do with anything we are talking about today. But I thought it'd be a nice way to get myself in trouble right off the bat. That way, hey, it's all uphill. Know, right? It's all downhill from here, right? It's nothing could possibly go wrong now. So we got a couple of topics that we want to talk about. Go, Melissa. Go ahead.
I'm sure there's plenty of good female pilots, but not that one.
No, that female pilot and probably co-pilot. How do you do that? That is actually very talented. Did she land it upside down? Did it crash? What exactly happened? But I mean, either way, to make it go upside down like that's got to take a degree of talent, right?
And it's not completely crashed, so that does take talent.
No,
they had to like smoothly.
If everybody's surprised, I mean, that's even more incredible. I don't mean to make light of it if somebody got hurt or died or anything like that. But I mean, again, this is one of those iconic moments for the DEI movement, was when they landed the first female airliner upside down. I don't think you call that a landing. So we're talking about a number of things today. We're diving a little bit into politics, I think. Talking about some funny things, some stupid things, and just things in general. So anyway, Melissa, you can lead us off with whatever topic you want to start off with.
Since you mentioned that we're talking about politics, something that I thought, I'm just blown away a lot of times by Donald Trump, because it's such the opposite of what we see from the last presidency. And something recently he did was doing one of his talks, and a lady in the audience passed out. So he completely stopped. He turned around, he yelled for doctors. And I mean, I thought, he wasn't afraid to do that. He didn't think he looked stupid, sounds stupid. He just, called for doctors, and Dr. Oz was there.
Doesn't that sound like a sitcom for real? It sounds like
It was
We need a
amazing.
doctor. We need a doctor. Who's that doctor? Oh my, it's Dr. Oz. Everybody clap.
But he actually went to help. The lady was okay. And I just thought it was so classy.
It would have
And
been great though if there had been like a clap track or cheer track or something
yeah.
like that to make it sound like the in front of a live studio audience. But I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm saying that's awesome. That's great. I think that was wonderful.
Something Donald Trump said is, "We take care of our people. That's what we do," and that's just something he always does. He doesn't hesitate. And something else they did, they serve lobster and steak to the troops. It's like they don't just talk about and for people, they go out and do it.
Yeah, and Babylon B, by the way, said that Pete Hegseth doesn't know what happened. An obese Pete Hegseth wearing a bib with a picture of a lobster on it didn't know what happened to all the leftovers. Yeah. That is something that is very refreshing because we talk about how we need to honor our troops more, and so many people are all talking. I remember when Jon Stewart years back was, we need to take care of these 9/11 victims that lost their families, and mind you, he pushed it so hard that he ended up pushing bad legislation along with the relief for 9/11 victims' families. I mean, I thought it's one of those annoying things that you get from typical politicians. I know Jon Stewart, he's a comedian, not a politician. Nonetheless, it's one of those things where they don't understand the game, or maybe they do, and they end up hurting people. Donald Trump, though, is just so straightforward, and Pete Hegseth, I think that he's doing a great job as Minister of War, or whatever it's called. What is it? Director of War, Minister of War, Secretary of War. That's what I was looking for. Secretary of War. I remember I was telling you about some of my favorite people in his administration right now, and I forgot to mention Pete Hegseth. I mean, Pete Hegseth, he is doing a phenomenal job right up there with Marco Rubio, Robert F. Kennedy, and Bob Homan. Bob Homan might be the best one of them. I mean, he's probably the one that gets the least press, but I think that Bob Homan might be the best one. He's with immigration. I don't remember exactly what his office is called, but Hegseth is definitely up there as well. I mean, he's carried out so many effective military operations that's just remarkable. So, yeah, go ahead. Your turn.
Pete Hegseth is a Christian. One of the quotes he said was, "Christ is King. He died for our sins. We are forgiven. He will come again in glory." Amen. It's like, man, the guy that's looking out for our country. Encouraging.
You ever seen American History X?
No.
I know that I've heard some of the people on our side, so to speak, on the right, make fun of it a little bit, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. But the premise of it was that there's this guy who was a Nazi, and he had like a swastika. He was played by Edward Norton, by the way. I don't remember his name was like Cameron or something like that in the movie, but played by Ed Norton. And his character has this tattoo of a swastika on his chest. He gets reformed throughout the movie, leaves his Nazi ways behind and all that. When Pete Hegseth was doing his hearing in front of Congress, one of the things that they told him was that he has a Nazi symbol tattooed on his chest. But what's funny is, like, it reminded me of that American History X with the swastika tattoo. But what Pete Hegseth actually has tattooed on his chest is the cross of Jerusalem, which is a cross with 4 other crosses surrounding it. And it's a very Christian symbol. So, they accused him of that, and then he defended it, by the way, very, very strongly and thoroughly and effectively, I thought. Made the people who were vetting him look like fools, I thought. So that was one of the things I appreciate about him. Not that I'm big on tattoos or anything, but I thought that was wonderful how he defended that symbol. Got to educate them a little bit about the Jerusalem cross, the cross of Jerusalem. So what you're laughing, Melissa? What are you laughing about?
I was just looking through some of the Babylon B things that I think are really funny.
Since when has the Babylon B done something funny? What'd you see?
One of the ones I wanted to share was that they have posted Trump boasts now has the highest approval rating of any current U.S. president.
That one, I got a chuckle out of that one. Yes, highest approval rating. People listen, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on. Let's admit it. Donald Trump has the highest approval rating of any of the current sitting U.S. presidents. Very true. Very much true. What else, Melissa? You see anything else in there?
Something what's funny about the State of the Union, the Babylon Bee posted, Democrats refuse to stand as Trump introduces Jesus.
Wait. That's Babylon B? This sounds like something that would really happen, to tell you the truth. Yeah, during the State of the Union, we didn't talk. We actually wanted to do a podcast like right after, but it was really late. We were
Yeah.
tired. And so we didn't. We both really wanted to do a State of the Union podcast episode. Yeah, I thought the most powerful moment in that, and I think that just about everybody agrees, everybody I've seen has mentioned it, unless you're liberal press, of course, was when he said, if your highest, I'm not quoting it. Oh, here it says, stand if you believe your responsibility is to the American people and not illegals. And of course, what we ended up seeing after that quotation is that the Republicans all stood. I think maybe John Fetterman stood, and there's a lady on that side that stood as well. But almost all the other Democrats, like 99.9% of them, remained in their chairs. Now, I know most of the time I would say that was a dirty political move, and you can still make the argument it was a dirty political move. But even in a dirty political move like that, you've got to stand. I'm sorry, it looks bad if like the words, if you prioritize American citizens first and not illegal immigrants, stand. That's not political talk right there. That's saying, hey, do you agree to do your job? And the Democrats effectively said no. It's like, what? You know, you Democrats out there, you Democrat Christians out there particularly, you make me scratch my head. I really do not understand you at all. I don't know how you can vote for these people. I mean, they use you, really. They use you. They manipulate you. They use you. They say things to make them sound like nice people, but then when they go to enforce policy, I mean, think about it. All their policies are about death and not having families. I mean, really, death and not having families, which and even more than abortion now. I mean, you look at like things that are happening, like the Irina Zarutska. You look at how much they cheered the death of Charlie Kirk. I mean, you go on and on and on about all the things they do that harm people, and it's like, and how do you vote for them? I don't know. I mean, it's incredible. And go ahead, Melissa. Before I launch into a rant, go ahead.
Well, John Fetterman said that,
which is a Democrat, by the way, John Fetterman.
He said sometimes he has to choose supporting America over his political party, and like you said, well, if that means if you have to choose America over your political party, maybe you're in the wrong party.
And John Fetterman, man, I tell you what, I owe that guy an apology because he was actually, ironically, so we mentioned Dr. Oz. John Fetterman ran against Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, right? And he ended up beating Dr. Oz. And I didn't like that at first, especially since at the time, John Fetterman just had a stroke and he was barely cognizant. And I'm like wondering, how on earth did this guy get elected? But he's been a great ally. I mean, when I say ally, I don't mean to the Republican Party. I mean to common sense. I mean, he's not going to last long in the Democrat Party. I'm sorry. They're going to run him out on a rail unless they're scared of him. He's a big dude. Yeah. He's a big, scary looking guy. I actually, if I were to say that I am okay with any Democrat, John Fetterman is that. Tulsi Gabbard was one as well, sort of. Again, these are people that I don't agree with them on policy. People, listen, it's not that I agree with them on policy. I agree with them on common sense, like bare minimum, like, bare bones common sense. Like, okay, we can't agree on so much stuff, but at least we can agree, put America first. For real, put America first. That's what you're elected for. That's your job. Why would you do anything other than that? I think that effectively the news media has brainwashed people so well into thinking that everybody that has an R before their name is the devil incarnate, and that everybody with a D before their name is Saint Michael the Archangel or Jesus. These people know how to hide who they really are. And that takes me a little bit into Donald Trump and some of the more controversial things that people are really struggling with right now. I talked to a really nice person today who didn't really understand Donald Trump's immigration policy. Actually, I talked to two people today, at least, who did not understand Donald Trump's immigration policy. People still think that Donald Trump is deporting citizens of the United States. That's not true. That's been disproven how many times now? But the problem is, if you're watching CNN, NBC, MSNBC, PBS, ABC, most of the mainstream news networks, you're going to think that he's deporting citizens. He's not. Right before talking to these people, the irony is I was listening to a podcast where somebody was doing a ride along with ICE agents. They were deporting drug traffickers, sex traffickers. I mean, and these people, when they apprehended them, what these people said is, "Oh no, no, I don't do that stuff. I'm here to work and to make an honest living, and I'm just trying to support my family." And then the ICE officers were like, "We have your rap sheet. You've been deported numerous times from this country, and these are the horrible things that you have done, and your family isn't even in America."
Wow.
Yeah. So these people are on top, and they know how to garner sympathy. And the person that was on the ride along, he was a media person. So they thought that, oh, we can trust you to spread our lies. And hey, how about that? Kind of an accent, kind of an imitation of what they're doing. I'm pretty good at accents. Melissa wants me to do an episode of my accents. April Fool's is coming up, people. So they thought that he would be friendly and spread their lies, basically. But instead, this particular guy, he's a conservative, and he pushed back. He said, "Yeah, these guys have all the information on you. I'm not buying any of it. Do you want to like apologize and go back to your country now?" It's one of the things I'm surprised about is there's still people. Another person I talked to still believes, like, you remember that woman who hit that ICE officer, right?
Yeah.
Still believes he shouldn't have shot her. Still believes that he overreacted. Still believes he didn't even get hit.
I was encouraged to see that people in our town said they would buy the ICE officers lunch. So I'm like, okay, at least there's some sane people around here.
Yeah, I can't believe that people still believe that. I mean, the guy got hit, he got injured, and he even had internal bleeding.
Yeah.
This is the medical report, people. This isn't like me or mainstream media making stuff up. This guy actually got hit. And you could say, oh, well, he didn't need a shooter. I'm sorry. I've said this so many times. I'm going to be blue in the face from saying it. The way that we were brought up is that when there's law enforcement, you comply, period. Period. And if you do not comply with what they tell you, you're taking your life in your own hands. Even if she was just trying to drive off, she's not being compliant. And then that makes an officer of the law have to say, why are you running off? Are you doing something illegal? Are you going to hurt somebody? Well, I better not let you hurt somebody because I have you right here and it looks like you're trying to do something illegal. And you might be trying to hurt somebody. And the activity, by the way, they're engaged in was really, really bad. They're being very disruptive, very dangerous already. And so you don't know what a person like that's going to do. And frankly, I don't feel good that they shot her. But this isn't about feelings. This is about law enforcement. And this is about the reality of these people were interfering with these ICE agents doing their job, and they harmed one of them. I mean, how stupid could you be?
Yeah. And a lot of people that were brought over by Obama and Biden, they're Islamic extremists. That was pointed out recently when there was more, terrorist attacks, that these people just need to get out of our country.
I think that a lot of people got in cold feet. Either that or this is one of the hard things. I mean, nobody likes defending violence. And when you see pictures or videos of people getting shot in the streets by ICE agents, it doesn't look good. We don't like it. But then you get the story. The Bible says that when you hear the witness give his testimony, you agree with him. But then when he's cross-examined, you can have your mind changed. Well, when you cross-examine these situations, it's like, oh, that's what was happening. Not to mention that officer who got hit by that lady before she got shot, he had been hit by somebody else and ended up in the hospital as a result of that. And I know that the left, as much as they hate Trump, as much as they've been trying to paint Trump in the wrong light, dragging his name through the mud, they're really amping it up because we have some midterm elections coming up. And one of the big issues, probably the biggest issue right now, is the war in Iran. And I saw somebody, okay, I'm going to put it like this. I'm really tired of conspiracy theories. Back in 2020, I was open to just about every conspiracy theory in the world. And prior to that, I was not. The reason I was open to just about every conspiracy theory in the world is because of the 2020 election. People, let's face it, that was a shady election. What happened there was bad. I mean, somebody, not somebody, lots of somebody's
Yeah.
monkeyed with that like there was no tomorrow. And it makes you suspicious of everything. And I was suspicious at that point of
Mm-hmm.
everything. And since then, though, I tell you what, just because one thing could be true doesn't mean that everything you hear is true. One of the conspiracy theories I've heard put out there recently is that Donald Trump started the war in Iran to distract from the Epstein files and to distract from the Epstein files. How many times does a report have to come out? I mean, the official report is, the official reports are, and the official reports have always been that yes, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. But he wasn't guilty of anything. He turned Epstein in. He's the one who was compliant with the authorities and wanted to see Epstein get arrested because he knew there's. I believe Epstein assaulted one of the women, underage women, at Mar-a-Lago, of all things. And Donald Trump said, You are not welcome here anymore." And he kicked Epstein out. And when authorities approached him on Jeffrey Epstein, he was compliant. And so he was essentially the informant. That is why he is in the Epstein files. He did not do it. Now, are there a lot of other people that are in the Epstein files that people want to protect? Oh, absolutely. Is there anybody Trump wants to protect? I have no idea, to tell the truth. Probably not. I mean, Donald Trump is not your mainstream politician. Another one. Iran is a war started by the Jews, that we are a lackey of the Jews in this one. Not everything's the Jews, and I'll be the first to tell you, I stand with Israel on religious grounds, not as a Jew, but as a Christian. And I understand there's different theological dispositions, which is one of the reasons I got kind of mad at Tucker Carlson when he cornered Ted Cruz, which Ted Cruz is not a theologian. He's not a pastor. He's a Christian and he's a senator. He happens to stand with Israel on religious grounds as well. Tucker Carlson cornered him because he takes a different theological stance on the nation of Israel. And that's okay, that's fine. But when somebody takes a religious stance on it, it's a little bit different from taking a purely political stance on Israel. In fact, I don't even fault Ted Cruz for receiving money for Israel because he stands with Israel religiously. So what's wrong with that, in my opinion? And I get it. I get it. That might not sound good to the rest of y'all. I mean, that's okay. That's fine. But again, if you stand with them on religious grounds and you think that God wants us to stand with Israel, if I believe that God wants me to stand with Israel, do you think I'm not going to stand with Israel? I mean, it's just foolish. Now, having said that, I think that we need, our role with Israel shouldn't be to fight their wars, but rather to hold them accountable. Now, Iran is not a strictly Israel Jewish war. Donald Trump has been saying since, like, I think the 1970s that we need to keep our eye on Iran. And he's been saying at least since the 90s, we cannot let Iran get a nuclear
Mm-hmm.
weapon. And yes, I've heard people say, yeah, but Iran, Israel keeps on saying that Iran is close to getting a nuclear weapon since the 1990s. Why don't they have one yet? Well, probably because the military operations where they interfere with them getting a nuclear weapon. That's probably why, because we've been interfering with their operations to build a nuclear weapon. And there's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But to tell the truth, it's one of those things along the lines of like people that hate the Jews want you to believe that, and I mean that, people that hate the Jews want you to believe that we are fighting this war on the behalf of Israel. We are not. This is purely an American interest.
Yeah, and Donald Trump and Marco Rubio said that Iran is the main supporter for terrorism. And we've experienced terrorism in the United States many times. And so if it's affected our own country, it only makes sense that it's actually, protecting our country to go against Iran, especially since they were, threatening our own president. They continue to threaten our country. We're not going to let them. Trump said they obliterated their nuclear weapons, they sunk their boats. So that's actually fighting a war before it begins, against America, I think. And when Obama gave them money and to fund terrorism.
Barack Obama
Yeah.
and Joe Biden gave billions
So,
of dollars
yep,
to
to
Iran.
Iran, and they funded terrorism. It's like our own presidents funded that terrorism against their own country. And so, why, in my book, why would anyone go against Donald Trump when he's trying to fight against that? It's like that's really crime.
You
Like
want
that's
you
a
want
big
to
crime.
you want to know my
That
conspiracy theory?
what those other
My
presidents did.
conspiracy theory, because I asked somebody this the other day. Why do you think that Obama and Biden gave billions of dollars to Iran? You have any guesses on that?
Um,
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it?
because probably Hunter Biden
I'll tell you
somehow.
why. I'll tell you why, and it's gonna bring everything together very quickly. Obama, Biden, and the Democrat Party want to start World War III. They want
And
to. I mean, look at Ukraine. Like with the
yeah,
Ukraine situation, the route that Joe Biden was going to start World War III. We were told that Donald Trump was going to start World War
no.
III. I literally thank God that Donald Trump got
Mhm.
elected, because we would be entering into World War III under Joe Biden. They were working toward that end. And Iran's the same thing. Give them a nuclear weapon, we got World War III on our hands.
Yeah, something fascinating that you mentioned the other day. The playbook that Barack Obama was going off of to blame the Republicans for the things he was actually doing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like that's exactly what they did all the way around. Everything they blamed the Republicans for doing is what they were actually
Yeah.
doing. Cheating in elections, that's
Oh
what they were
man.
doing, and trying to start World War III, that's what they were doing.
So I mean, it all really comes together when I
Mm-hmm.
say that, then, that they actually want to start World War III. What were they accusing Donald Trump of doing if he were to get elected? They
Mm-hmm.
were saying he will start World War III if he gets elected.
Mm-hmm.
What are they telling us? We want to start World War
Yeah.
III. That's what they were basically saying. And they wanted to do that on the premise that Joe Biden or Kamala Harris was going to end up in the White House again.
and 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 what I got from when I hear President Trump talk and when he goes around and is just spending time with the American people, I always think of him as the father of our country because he's out there putting his life on the line. These people are always coming after him. And I'm like, man, like he's standing in there for us when these evil people are, I mean, they're basically running our country. So terrible. Of course, God only lets him get away with what he allows, but God put Trump out there. Obviously, it's God looking out for us. And
Yeah.
someone said, I don't know if it's you, but someone says he's like the watchdog.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of stupid memes lately that people have been posting. And one of them I saw was one of those, because of war, people are just naturally saying stupid things. That's how war goes. If people say stupid things during war, because we don't like seeing people die. Nobody likes seeing people die. Maybe there are people like seeing people die. I don't. Most people I know don't. I don't think that the president likes seeing people die. He's a very anti-war guy, really. I mean, at his core, he's trying to get this Iran thing done as soon as possible. But one of them that I saw is like, well, if we're not funding education, and if we're not funding the environmental
Raise your
protection,
voices.
and if we're not funding this and we're not funding that, then what are we doing? Who are we really protecting with our military? And I remember I was talking to you about this, and as we were talking about it, yeah, it's clear that the answer is much broader than the answer I'm going to get. Who are we protecting with our military? You know what? It's very simple. Families. You're talking about all these government bureaucracies that you think they need to protect this group and that group and the environment. You know what? The environment's going to be just fine, by the way.
Yeah.
I read a book one time that tells us how it's all
Yeah.
going to end. And I think we should be responsible. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that you should just start dumping, toxic waste everywhere. Or, you know what? How about this? Stop throwing your trash on the ground, for crying out loud. I cannot stand that. Just throw it away in a garbage bin
Well,
or a
yeah.
recycle bin if that's your thing. I'm not a recycle guy, by the way.
You
I'm
know,
like a Captain Planet guy. I'm a Captain Planet villain almost, except for the pollution part.
well, but it's the thing where, once again, they're the ones putting poison in the air.
Oh, why did
We
you have
see
to
it.
remind
I'm
me?
sorry, but that's what I thought. I'm like, well, yeah, there might be a piece of trash on the ground, but you just put poison in our air, like on purpose. Like, so you're blaming people that are just living their lives
Oh my
for destroying the
goodness.
environment, but they're actually doing it. That's why we need people like Trump to stand in our place because you know what? Hey, he doesn't even like the windmills. There you go.
Yes, praise God, right? I mean, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, when I saw that meme, and I've seen other ones. I saw another one, I think, today, and I'm just thinking, like, people, you're just not. You. Oh, it's about the Department of Education. Like, oh, Trump, he defunded the Department of Education or got rid of it or whatever. I don't know. And yet we're giving all this money to the military. That's when you know your country's done. The Department of Education is trash.
Yep.
It is like one of the most
They're putting bad
ungodly institutions that America has ever invented.
Mhm.
And I mean, but of course, the people I see post this sort of stuff don't have children. Did I just say that? Did I just say that? I don't know if they heard that or
Well,
not, but I think that that's
yeah.
relevant, though.
And I think that's something that's so fascinating is that the average person doesn't know how to decipher which one's good, which one's evil, they
And
think.
it reminds me very much of a point I was going to make to a person I was talking to today, and I didn't get to the point, unfortunately, because I started saying it and I sidetracked myself. Not that I ever do that,
oh.
but I sidetracked myself and I didn't get to the most important point because I started off by saying, this is one of those things as a pastor, and then I said, and then I interrupted myself and went on to a different topic. But as a pastor, one of the most, one of the best guiding principles. And as a Christian, one of the best guiding principles, and even if you don't believe in God, this is a very good guiding principle. The heart of man is deceitful above all things.
Yep.
And that all people have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That in our hearts, we are not wonderful, good, lovable, I want to do good for everybody else type of people. Nope. Our hearts are sinful, they are deceptive, and they are selfish. They want what can be got for us. They want to make our lives better. Our own hearts do that. And if that's how you're looking at life, you're going to invite in all these evil politicians that are going to deceive you because they're going to tell you what you want to hear. That's the easiest way to deceive the human heart. I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. When I see people like Donald Trump, that even though the visuals aren't the best, okay, I admit that the visuals are not the best, but he's telling us what he's doing through that, and he's telling us how bad the problem is. And we all acknowledge, by the way, all you Trump voters out there, along with me, you all said that we need to send all of them back. Do you know that he offered them money to go back? He offered them peaceful means to go back, and he's trying to do the deportations in a peaceful manner. When you have people shouting at you, blowing bullhorns in your ears and blowing whistles in your ears and leaving the zones where they're allowed to peacefully protest, they are not allowed to be on the street, by the way. They have to be on the sidewalks and stuff. They cannot be impeding traffic. And then they're impeding traffic and they're getting in the way of the officers. What do you think is going to happen? And on top of that, with how bad the illegal immigration problem is right now, it's gotten to the point where, okay, all the people that would leave peacefully have left peacefully. And now they had to be physically apprehended and deported. I mean, I shared with somebody today that your family, and people don't know the immigration system. That's one of the problems. Your aunt, till the day she died, was not an American citizen.
Yep.
But she was what they call a legal immigrant because she came over with her family who they became, her parents became citizens. And then the rest of her family, her siblings were given the opportunity, do you want to become a United States citizen? And they had that choice. Some of them said yes. She chose no, which means that she couldn't vote, which, by the way, isn't that important to know? She could not vote as a legal immigrant. Okay? But that's actually what this is all about. It's about getting people to vote, and it's also about manipulating how many people are in each state to change the voting, not voting demographics, but what is it called? The electoral college, to affect the electoral college, because it's based on population size. So if you can count illegal immigrants along with the total population, you barely even need them to vote. You just need to win the state is all you need to do.
Yeah, and my mom, her family came from Austria. They had to wait 10 years to be able to come over to America, fill out a whole bunch of paperwork. Yeah, they came over legally, and my mom had to take a test about our country, and yeah, she had to learn the language and everything. And so her family fully embraced being an American citizen when they were able to become one. And yeah, when Bill told me years ago about them wanting to bring over illegals to manipulate voting, I never believed it. And then they actually did it. And I'm like, wow. Like, that is a conspiracy theory that came true. So we just pray that, hey, maybe Donald Trump will get a third term. Maybe God can use him some more
Yeah, yeah.
to get it all straightened out.
I think that's one of those Occam razor things, though. That's the thing that conspiracy theorists don't understand is typically the simplest explanation is the best explanation. And when I looked at things that way back then, like, okay, what's the simplest explanation? Does this really make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. What are they doing? They're manipulating voting, is what they're doing. It made a lot of sense. It was the simplest explanation as to why they were doing what they were doing. But there's one more topic I want to talk on before we close things out. The final thing is I happen to see another, calling it a stupid meme. Okay, and it says, what would it be like if the Constitution allowed a third presidential term? The first one is what Republicans think, and that's, Trump and his fanfare. The second one is what Democrats think it would be like, and it's Trump ruling the world with an iron fist. And the third one, what it would actually be like, and it's Donald Trump debating Barack Obama on a debate stage. And then I saw that there was a comment, so this might give it away. Sorry if you're listening, but this might give it away, but I still think it's a stupid meme, is that the reason why this particular person shared this post was because he wants to deter Republicans from asking for a third term for Donald Trump, making it constitutionally legal for Donald Trump to be a president for a third term. I thought it was a stupid meme. I mean, not entirely stupid, but there's a stupid element to it because it was actually once constitutional for a president to run for more than 2 terms. In fact, FDR did. I can't remember how many. He won like 3 or 4, and it was horrible, by the way. FDR as president was a horrible, horrible thing because he was a socialist and he was a progressive and all those things, and he made a mess out of the country. Ultimately, what I want to get to with this is that this person thinks that the opportunity for Barack Obama to have a third term would be discouraging to Republican voters. But you know what? What I have to say about that? Bring it on. I would love to have Donald Trump as a third term president. And if he had to run against Barack Obama, you know what? I think it'd be a tougher race than normal. But I think Barack Obama has lost an awful lot of credibility. And I truly believe that Donald Trump could beat somebody like Barack Obama. Granted that these 4 years go well and continue to progress in a good direction, opposed to in a negative direction. Depends on how it all kind of plays out from here. So ultimately, what I think is that actually, I think Donald Trump deserves a third term. And I don't say the word deserves in relation to people too often. But you remember his first term, how badly they really, like both sides, Republicans and Democrats, what's the word called? I don't even know what it's called, but they totally sabotaged his first term to where they made his first 2 years totally obsolete or ineffective. What's the word I'm looking for? They were inconsequential. First 2 years, totally inconsequential because they wrapped him up in so much nonsense that wasn't true. And his final year was COVID. And that was a constructed catastrophe essentially that derailed his 4th year. And it was also through COVID that this other conspiracy theory is able to take place where they rigged the 2020 election. Oh, it's absolutely wild. I can't believe we lived through that. That is just so insane that we lived through that. But I think that Donald Trump deserves a third term because he essentially didn't have a first term.
Donald Trump said it should be my third term, but strange things happen. I agree with you. We should totally be for a third term for him. And if he did run against Barack Obama,
I say bring it on.
I say something happened with the election. We'll start preaching about Revelation
again. Maybe so. And that brings us to the end of this episode. I'm not sure how long it's going to turn out to be. I'm hoping we can edit it down a little bit, but we don't have to too much. I think this has been pretty good, actually. So I want to remind you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you have something good to say. I don't care if you have something bad to say. Hold it to yourself.
And one last comment. All this government talk, I tell you what, the best government book for kids is G-Rex.
Giganatus Rex, The Wrath of Giganatus Rex.
It's so fascinating.
It's not just for kids. That's something we had to talk about.
I'm saying that it talks about, there's a lot of government lessons to be learned in it, but it's good.
Yeah, I mean, that goes into a whole new topic, in fact. Giganatus Rex, Wrath of Giganatus Rex is in podcast form. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it all over the place right now. It's for free, but guess what? I have Giganatus Rex, The Battle of Midland, or Giganatus Rex 2, that I'm going to be releasing on Patreon. So I will be putting those links out there once I get The Battle of Midland, Giganatus Rex, The Battle of Midland, out onto an audio format. And I'm going to be working on audiobooks too. I'm hoping I can figure that out sometime in the near future. But I will be releasing the second book on Patreon. And I'm doing more and more with the Giganatus Rex podcast too. We just recorded an episode, a profile on one of the monsters in the Giganatus Rex series. So look forward to that. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Redeem for Jesus with Bill Seng. Leave a comment as long as it's a nice one. You can disagree with us if you want, and that's just fine, but make sure to leave a 5-star review regardless. That's your payment. If you leave a bad comment, give us a 5-star review, and then you'll be totally forgiven for that. I want you to remember, one day, every knee will bow and every tongue confess, and all of creation will be redeemed for Jesus. Be blessed.